Hello and welcome to Africa News. I'm James Ezimoha. Let's see your headlines. Sudan's military says it has gained more ground in North Kordofan. Intergovernmental agreement for a pipeline project between Nigeria and Morocco has been signed. Speaker of Azerbaijan's parliament, Sahiba Jafarova, is in Ethiopia on a working visit. Sudan's military says it has made further gains in North Kordofan, but the battlefield advances are being overshadowed by deepening humanitarian crisis. Aid agencies warn that civilians, especially children, are paying the highest price as the conflict enters its fourth year. Here's more.
The conflict in Sudan continues, with the army announcing new territorial gains in North Kordofan. The army chief, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has recently visited newly recaptured towns after the army says it had pushed the RSF fighters. The army says the operations aimed at expanding its control, but fighting remains active in parts across the state. The conflict continues. The humanitarian agencies warn that civilians are bearing the brunt. The UNICEF says at least 23 children have been killed in North Kordofan since May. The violence around Al Ubaid continues. The war in Sudan has now entered its fourth year, displacing more than 13 million people and leaving millions more in need of humanitarian assistance. So despite the army gains, the humanitarian situation is likely to worsen even further. Naba Muhiddin for News, Khartoum, Sudan.
Now, Sudan is reopening its National Museum in Khartoum after the city was retaken from the Rapid Support Forces earlier this year. However, many of its prized artifacts going back centuries were damaged or looted.
Sudan's National Museum in Khartoum has reopened, marking a major step in efforts to restore the country's cultural heritage amid years of conflict. The museum is home to thousands of ancient Nubian and Sudanese artifacts. However, up to 90% of its collections were stolen or damaged when the Rapid Support Forces occupied the capital. After the Sudanese army retook the city in March 2025, government officials say they're gradually retrieving the artifacts through a coordinated operation, promising every artifact to be restored.
Sudan's cultural heritage, passed down from generation to generation, will not be lost, emphasising that attempts by the militia and its supporters to erase Sudan's national identity have failed. The joint efforts by the security services, the National Corporation for Antiquities and Museums and ministry staff have led to the recovery of a large number of artefacts in recent months, despite the exceptional challenges imposed by the war.
UNESCO says 570 artefacts stolen from the museum have already been recovered, while museum staff have documented more than 10,000 objects to help identify missing pieces.
Those who looted these artifacts understood exactly what they represented. They were trying to erase Sudan's identity and history, but they failed. We have managed to recover a number of these priceless pieces, and our efforts to retrieve the rest will continue.
The National Museum in Khartoum wasn't the only one affected. Others in Niala, Al Geneina, El Fasher, and Wad Madani were also destroyed or looted. Authorities estimate the war has caused at least $110 million worth of damage to Sudan's cultural sector. Some artifacts are believed to have been smuggled abroad, and recovering them will require years of international cooperation.
Now, war continues to reshape daily life in Sudan, with its impact reaching far beyond the battlefield. Our next report looks at how the conflict is disrupting cancer care and leaving many patients struggling to access life-saving treatment.
Sudan's ongoing civil war has pushed the country's healthcare system into crisis. Power cuts, damaged hospitals, and soaring medicine prices have made cancer treatment increasingly challenging for patients. The Ministry of Health says it's working to restore electricity and repair damaged equipment. However, officials say they cannot control the high cost of cancer medicines. For Naila, life is a struggle.
Living conditions are difficult, and all things, prices, have skyrocketed. Before, we used to struggle with affording the prices of food. Now we struggle with affording the prices of food and medicine. We can't find either. People are not working. They are staying home. Our home is demolished and we can't find a way to fix it. We are staying at the neighbor's house.
One of Sudan's most advanced radiotherapy machines was put out of service during the fighting.
This device was supposed to treat more than one patient per day using very advanced methods which are unavailable elsewhere in Sudan. People used to travel outside Sudan in order to get this 3D radiation therapy. Now, as we can see, the destruction and damage are big. Parts of this device are scattered on the floor.
Since the 15th of April 2023, Sudan has been gripped by war between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces. The conflict is believed to have killed hundreds of thousands of people, displaced millions, and fueled famine and disease. According to the World Health Organization, Sudan recorded more than 41,000 new cancer cases in 2024. More than 73,000 people are currently living with cancer across the country.
Now, Chad has begun the process of leaving the International Criminal Court, becoming the fifth country to announce a withdrawal in recent months. The move follows accusations that the ICC unfairly targets non-Western countries and adds pressure on the court as it searches for a new chief prosecutor. Chad joins Venezuela, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which have all also moved to leave the court. The departures come after member states voted to remove Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan over alleged misconduct. He, however, denies any wrongdoings. Meanwhile, Nigeria and Ghana are stepping up pressure on South Africa following a wave of violence targeting African migrants. Both countries have condemned the attacks, with Nigeria demanding stronger action and Ghana continuing to evacuate citizens to safety.
Nigeria and Ghana are urging South Africa to do more to prevent xenophobic attacks. At least 98 Nigerians had been killed since 2022, and officials say at least 1,400 of its nationals have been evacuated. Meanwhile, Ghana announced the evacuation of around 1,000 more citizens. The countries warn that it's straining their bilateral ties and raises concerns over possible state complicity after alleging police had failed to intervene.
This xenophobic attack had gone beyond, attack on criminals. We have record of Nigerians who have legitimate papers to remain in South Africa, yet they have been attacked. And we could see some mob actions, which we saw the police watching as if they are helpless to address this situation, which to us raises issues of state responsibility. It raises the issues of complicity.
Ghana also plans to raise the issue at the African Union, with secured ECOWAS backing, calling for a coordinated continental response to protect migrants and prevent further violence.
The petition highlights the recurring loss of lives, attacks on African migrants, destruction of businesses, and threats to the principles of African unity, free movement, and continental integration, which we must all admit is the bedrock, the foundation of the formation of the OAU.
South Africa says President Cyril Ramaphosa's government remains firmly opposed to xenophobia, racism, and discrimination.
Now, the $25 billion Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project has cleared a major hurdle after ECOWAS member states signed an agreement to advance the long-delayed plan. The pipeline is expected to transport gas across West Africa, with supplies also reaching Morocco and Europe.
Stretching nearly 6,000 kilometers across 13 West African countries, the proposed Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline promises to fundamentally reshape energy flows into Europe. By signing the agreement, ECOWAS nations have locked in their full commitment to the governance framework. For Nigeria, this is the ultimate gamble to monetize its massive, untapped gas reserves.
Many African countries will benefit tremendously from the availability of gas before the gas gets to Europe. When gas is passing through some of these African countries, obviously there will be an uptick of the gas, and it means that Nigeria will be a major supplier of gas.
For these transit nations, a consistent natural gas supply is the missing link needed to trigger industrial and economic development.
It means that Africa will be self-sufficient in terms of gas production, in terms of gas distribution, and in terms of retaining Africa's wealth within Africa. So that is a major boost for the African economy.
But Nigeria faces a steep climb. While holding 200 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves, its current daily production is a fraction of the 30 billion cubic meters needed annually to feed the pipeline. Upstream output must skyrocket.
It is estimated that the project will not fully come on stream until about 2046, which will mean that it may take another 20 years or more before the project can actually be fully realized. So, but at that point, it is hoped that we will be able to develop gas infrastructure.
Construction is scheduled to start in 2028, provided the project's financing is secured.
Now, Azerbaijan's Milli Majlis Speaker Sahiba Jafarova has met Ethiopia's Parliamentary Speaker Tagis Chafo during an official visit to Addis Ababa. The two sides discussed expanding parliamentary ties, increasing official visits, and cooperation in international organizations. They also explored opportunities in tourism, business, investment, culture, and humanitarian fields. Ethiopia's use of Azerbaijan's Asan service model was highlighted as an example of successful cooperation. Jafarova invited Chafo to visit Azerbaijan, and the invitation was accepted. Now, still in Ethiopia, communities in the Somali region are finding new ways to adapt as climate-linked droughts continue to hit the Horn of Africa. Local solutions are helping build resilience against future environmental challenges.
For generations, livestock has sustained communities in this area, but years of failed rains forced many, including mother of 8, Anissa Hassan, to look for new ways to survive.
We lost most of our cattle because of the drought. We used to have 15 cattle, but now we only have 5. Now we depend on collecting and selling firewood to earn an income and meet our daily needs.
To help families adapt, resilience programs are introducing irrigation and climate-smart agriculture across 6 drought-prone districts, helping over 85,000 people prepare for future climate shocks. In Gold, solar-powered pumps lift river water into fields, turning dry land into year-round crops of maize, tomatoes, and animal fodder.
If drought comes again, I don't think it will affect us the way it did before. We now have water throughout the year, thanks to our solar-powered water system. That means we can grow crops to feed our families and produce fodder for our livestock.
The World Food Programme says this is a new, proactive approach. It reflects a shift in how it handles humanitarian aid, focusing on long-term empowerment rather than emergency handouts. WFP officials hope it can be a game-changer in a world struggling with climate change.
We have been undergoing what we call paradigm shift, that is moving away from direct relief support to a more resilient-oriented kind of support, which means we are now focusing on empowering communities to be able to take care of themselves and also to be ready for any shock that may happen. So our communities are being supported, not given. They are being supported to produce what they eat and eat what they produce. And in case of surpluses, sell and make money.
For a farmer like Ali Barasufi, adapting to climate change meant learning an entirely new way of making a living. But he said it's been worth it.
We received training on modern farming techniques, which helped us change our mindset from being pastoralists to becoming farmers. These opportunities have greatly improved our livelihoods.
For families in Ethiopia's Somali region, the challenge is no longer just surviving the next drought. It is building the resilience needed to thrive in a changing climate.
All right, that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.